me. I haven't figured out if he's a genius or a donkey yet.
Poker, Genius, or Donkey, the show where you watch me play the micro stakes, judge my play, Genius or Donkey. Click subscribe. We have a ton of hands to roll through. Let's just jump right into it. I have an ace jack, a beautiful hand. We're going to talk a bit about c-betting the flop, and sometimes checking that flop. You know, most people think that once you put in a pre-flop raise that you gotta put in a c-bet pretty much 100% of the time. Barry Greenstein, look him up, pretty much 100% of the time putting in a c-bet, but this is the micro stakes and some kind of weird things happen. So I put a little raise in this with a beautiful ace jack suited, and these guys behind me seem to be getting the idea that I am a bit of a maniac. I'm a bit crazy. I'm raising a lot. Well, I'm raising a lot because that's what you should be doing. But these guys like to limp and call and see the flop. And it's a boring type of micro stakes poker game. So anyways, I'm raising. And then this guy with a weird stack, he's got like $1.27. He's going to call it. Yeah, he calls it. He calls with all kinds of stuff. He's calling like 80%. He's seeing the flop like 80% of the time. He has such a wide range. So when the flop comes down, I got a jack. And it's a jack 5-5, jack 5-5. Now, this seems like a standard spot to put in a c-bet for value. He might have a pair of sixes through tens. He might have a worse jack. Now, he also might have a 5 because it's extremely wide, but that's a very, very tiny portion that he has. But you know what he also has? Total garbage. Like a 10-7 or a 9-6 or all kinds of crazy crap like that. So in this particular spot, I'm also out of position against this guy, and he has a really weird stack. If my hand improves, I hit another jack. Oh my goodness. I can still probably get most of that stack in the middle as long as he's got something, because he's a real ABC player. He's calling with a 10-7, hoping to get a 10 or a 7 or a decent draw like an 8-9. There's not much on this board. So I decide, you know what? I'm just going to check it. And this is going to pay dividends later. So the 7 on the turn. I've got now the nut flush draw and top pair and top kicker. I think I should probably put in a bet, and I think I do. Yeah, I put in a bet of 10 cents and he calls it. So yeah, something like his 9-6 or his 10-7 might be coming along, and then a 9 on the river. And what do I do here? I think I just checked it actually. No, I put in a really tiny bet. And what does he do? He folds. So this is indicative of how wide these guys are calling me. Literally every time I'm raising at this particular table, someone over here has been calling me. They think I'm some sort of a maniac. They think I'm crazy. But this little tiny bet here should get called by a 9. But he doesn't have a 9. Probably should get called by a 7. There's a few straights out there. But anyways, he just still has completely nothing. So judge my play, genius or donkey. Tell me if you think I should have put in a c-bet on the flop. And we'll move to the next hand while you think about that. The next hand, another ace jack. I'm a bit farther away. I think I'll probably raise it up a bit more. Yeah, 9. This guy beside me, he's got that same disease of having to see the flop no matter what 2 cards he's got. He calls, comes all the way around, and another time I get a jack on the flop. Jack 73. Now, because they're calling me with basically any 2 cards, I gotta hope that he's got some sort of a 7 or a worse jack, or maybe he's got a pair of 4s, but that's not my point here. My point is that I think it's a mistake to c-bet every time, every single flop, even when you're strong. And the real point here is I'm out of position. So if I check it, he's going to tell me something about his hand, because the way he plays is, I have these 2 cards. The board is Jack 7-3. do my cards relate to those cards? And if they don't, he's not putting in a bet. So I check it and he checks it. So he's got nothing near that board. Now an 8 comes. Now at least there's some heart draws and some straight draws, and an 8's a reasonable card that he might have. So now I can start betting. I bet and he just folds. So he's so far away from this. Like the best possible hand he could have had was like maybe an ace deuce, an ace 4, a king deuce, queen 6. It's just like they're calling so often with such garbage that I decide I'm going to be aggressive, standardly aggressive pre-flop, and even maybe bump it up a little bit more. I put in 9 cents with my ace jack. Then on the flop, I'm going to be a little bit passive, kind of no matter what I've got. Not all the time. It's a relative game. So let's move to the next hand. Whole bunch of hands in this particular episode. 5-6. Now let's talk about the dividends of checking the flop. Same table, same guys. I'm expecting if I put in a raise, they are gonna call, and he calls. And got past that guy. Now here's the thing here. 348 on the flop. I got the 5-6. I'm open-ended. I'm like, fantastic. And here's the dividends right here. Is if I've been standard c-betting every single time, and they think I'm some sort of a maniac, and I put in a c-bet right here, and he decides to raise, then I'm ruining my awesome draw. I'm out of position. So this is the dividends that get paid. Now I get to just check it, and he bets it. Aha, so he's interested in this. Now, if I had to put in a bet, I probably would have put in like 12 cents or 13 cents, and he might have raised it, and then it'd be really uncomfortable because we're basically going for the whole thing. But this way, I get to see that turn card, and the turn card's pretty good for me. It's great for me. Well, it's a club. That's the problem. But I want you to imagine if that were the 7 of spades, then this would go a little bit differently. So I'm out of position. I check it back to him. He's shown a little bit of interest in the pot. He puts in 10 cents, which is such a weird bet. Kind of don't think he likes the club on the board. Might have an 8. I think he's got some sort of an 8. And I'm going to find out now. I don't normally do this, but with terrible players, sometimes I put in a small raise. It's an information raise, basically asking him if he likes the club or not, and he just calls. So I don't think he likes the club. So he doesn't have a flush. And what do I do here? Poker Genius or Donkey? There's 80 cents in the pocket. I just check it. And he can check it. Yeah, I think I missed some value because I did find out from him that he doesn't have a flush. I could have so bet into him. But the thing about poker is, remember, these guys are at the table with me. They're staying at the table with me. It's a cash game. I can go for their money later on if I want to. Got a king, queen. Let's see what happens here. I bet it. Fold, call, and and a queen on the flop, and I bet out with my c-bet, and damn it. See, this is what I'm talking about. Out of position. He now raises it. And I know that he's probably going to bet the turn, and I'm probably going to have to fold, but it's one of these weird sizes. Oh gosh, 3-1. All right, I have top pair, decent kicker. I call. Here you go. I pay you off, and it's 82 cents there, 87 cents there. Whatever, the turn card is irrelevant because he's just going to go all in, and I'm just going to have to fold. Top pair, second kicker. I'm folding because these guys are passive players, ABC players. He likes that flop. He definitely could have like a couple of 5s, a couple of 3s. And of course, he could have the ace queen. He could have queen 5, queen 3, all this stuff. And you know what? I might have him beat with a king queen. But what I'm saying is, if I had just checked that flop, stuck with my standard, then I could have minimized my losses. Now, I took that opportunity away from myself by betting that flop when I was going with a pretty decent strategy with these particular players who are calling way too often, way too wide, that I'm deciding to go against the grain. What I'm really talking about is adjusting to the opponents, because this, what I'm doing right here, is not standard play. And so, hopefully, eventually, this will have a huge benefit. And that's what I believe happens. Well, a 5-3. You know, these guys got position on me. I put in a bet. Well, they folded this time. But this is the type of hand that they might allow me to see a bunch of cards. Because I've established this checking the flop, they might allow me to see some cards. And I will get to the nuts. So anyways, the next hand is final hand. This is the 9s, and the 9 I put in 9 cents. And he's gonna come along. And one of these other guys comes along as well, so there's a bunch of money in the middle. Now, I've been going with this strategy of checking the flop. And once again, out of position with a decent hand, should I check the flop? You judge my play. Poker Genius or Donkey, get to that flop with a 9 on it, and now I bet it. What am I doing? Well, I'm doing this because there's 2 guys in the pot. And this guy, remember, they're looking down at their cards. He has a 10, he's coming along. And he does come along. Now the pot is huge. Oh, well, now I'm just super lucky because I got an extra 9. Should I now check the flop? Am I like checking to be aggressive? No, that's not the point at all. I'm waiting for this gigantic thing to happen. I put in a big bet. He calls it. I know I'm going for all the money. And there we go. I'm super lucky. I put in a big bet and he calls it. That ace on the river. Certainly he might have an ace. But the point is, they don't know what I have. They never know what I have. If I check the flop, if I bet the flop, if I raise pre-flop, these guys are calling way too often with way too many kinds of cards that sometimes I'm going to check that flop when I'm out of position because they're going to tell me everything that I need to know. But something this strong, man, just bet for value, and bet for value. But if we roll back to like that king-queen, you see how sometimes you get yourself in a really awkward situation. King-queen, I get raised by these passive players. And I kind of know that I'm going to have to either fold or pay them off. And it sucks. Anyways, thanks for watching Poker Genius or Donkey. Click subscribe and fold.